and welcome to the Pekin First podcast. My name is Josh, and I get the absolute pleasure of serving as the online ministries director right here at Pekin First.
Hello there, Josh, and hello, everyone. Welcome in. My name is Sean. I get to serve as a pastor here at Pekin First.
All right, and welcome to the Pekin First podcast again. This is episode 59. This is called I See You. We're going to talk a little bit about Nathaniel's story, who kind of doesn't have we'll say a huge part in the Bible, but does have he is a disciple. So we're gonna talk about Nathaniel's story and how that all comes about.
Good old Nate.
Yeah. So we start every episode with this week's personal best, and I'm going to go first only because I know yours is going to overshadow mine, I'm sure.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I'm pretty confident.
All right.
And honestly, I don't even know what it's going to be. We're just going to make this up.
All right.
You know what? I do know what it's going to be. My daughter, so Allie, which is Zena's daughter, but they're all our daughters, right? And she is our 25-year-old, and she just turned 25 this past Sunday. And we got to get all the girls together, and it was just me, Zena, the girls, the grandkids. So it was nice to have all the girls together. Emily wasn't there, but she was volleyballing. But we got all the bigger girls together and just kind of had dinner, had a good time, kind of like old times when we had everybody around the table. Yeah. And we're just missing one, like I said, but we added two grandkids. So yeah, it was just a good time, and I very much enjoyed having the family around.
And that is special. That's super special. Mine has to do with family as well, and it's not really this week. It's been just sort of an ongoing a thing over the holidays. We started out by seeing our kids at Thanksgiving. I have two grown kids, one daughter, one son, and saw our kids at Thanksgiving. Came back and then ended up back in Nashville for Christmas again for a few days because we had to do a little last minute pivot. We were going to go to Florida, but that didn't work out. So had to go back to Nashville. But my joy, great joy, is to be able to publicly announce that our daughter Courtney is pregnant with our first grandchild. And that is super exciting for us. And this whole new hat to wear of grandfather and grandmother and all that good stuff. So it's really exciting. Courtney will be due in June, so just excited to walk alongside of her through these next few months and then welcome the new baby in the summer.
Yeah, and it'll go a lot faster than you think.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And so congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Courtney and her husband. And I know you've been anxiously awaiting, if you will. And so good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. Yeah, you never really know how you're going to react. You keep thinking, are we going to be grandparents at some point? And then when you finally realize that you're going to be, you were like, wait, what am I supposed to do now?
What am I supposed to do now? The beautiful thing about being a grandparent is you can go when the baby starts crying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, back to you.
Back to you. Yeah. I've done this once or twice or, however many times. All right, we're going to go on with the episode 59. Welcome back, by the way. It's been a couple weeks.
It has been. Yeah, it has been Christmas and New Year's and everything that's gone on the last couple weeks. It's been a busy time, but glad to be back in the studio and back on the podcast again.
Absolutely. All right, this is episode 59. I See You, the story of Nathaniel. And it's going to be all about, we're going to get into what happens when doubt meets grace. And so when I was researching this and starting to put this episode together, which, by the way, I had a little bit of writer's block, a little bit of block. And again, we say social media bad sometimes, but my reels, it shows up in my reels, and the story of Nathaniel, or a blip of Nathaniel from The Chosen, which I know is not... they take some liberties, as you say, but they get the point across. And it's him sitting underneath the fig tree and asking God to see him. Yeah. And this was for you. And he's in his way saying a prayer, I believe, and asking him to be seen. Yeah. And Nathaniel is he's an honest guy. Right. He is a straight talker. He is somebody, we all have those friends that they do not hide their opinion at all. Right. And even through The Chosen, again, And that's because the Bible talks about Nathaniel, but it doesn't go into great detail about his wit.
Right.
And I like the way The Chosen did take that, and they went, just every time he's in scene, he kind of not a smart aleck, but just kind of this is the way that it is.
Sure.
And
Blunt.
so very blunt. So Nathaniel's underneath the fig tree asking to be seen. And then when he goes to meet Jesus and gets introduced to Jesus, Jesus says, I've seen you.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And prior to that, though, you speaking about his wit, Philip comes and says, hey, Nathaniel, we found him. We found the Messiah. And Nathaniel says, really, who is it? And he says, well, it's Jesus of Nazareth. And Nathaniel goes, oh, yeah. Like, what good is going to come out of Nazareth? Sure, that's the Messiah, right? This kind of smart alecky, but very blunt kind of thing, I mean, and as you said, we all kind of think, we think we know what Jesus is supposed to be like, but if he showed up today, would we feel the same way? Would we be like, well, really, you think there is, so, but yeah, I love the whole idea that Jesus doesn't rebuke him for that. He doesn't, he doesn't make him feel terrible about it. He just simply says, oh yeah, I know you, Nathaniel. I saw you when you were under that fig tree. Can you imagine that moment? I mean, you pray for something, and then suddenly here's Jesus in front of you answering that prayer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just the surprise of, wait a minute, God did hear me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And this, because, you have a lot of doubters, and that's part of Nathaniel is he doubted Jesus.
Yeah.
And so we run into during our lives, we run into a lot of people who doubt religion, doubt that there's a God. And I actually did hear something on the radio the other day that, and it was a talk show or something like that. And he said, believers say, what is it? What am I wasting? Because if I'm wrong, all I've done is waste money and time. Right. If you're wrong. So when Jesus says to Nathaniel, I saw you underneath that fig tree, all of a sudden, right, those percentages change.
Yeah.
And it's 100%.
Right.
And that's what it feels like to accept Jesus into your life.
Right.
Is that feeling right there?
Sure.
I'm not 50-50. I'm 100% sure.
Right. But notice that when you were 50-50, or even when you were 0, God didn't judge you for that. And
Correct.
God didn't say you're out, or there's no chance for you to get in. Doubt is a natural part of our faith journey. I've said it before, you don't need faith if you're certain about everything.
Right.
Faith is necessary when you don't know. Faith is necessary when you can't see. Faith is necessary when everything kind of is blurry and you throw your hands up in despair and say, I don't know, I don't get it, I'm questioning everything. That's when faith really comes into play and becomes very powerful in our lives. So Nathaniel, just like Thomas, is a perfect example for us, anybody who ever has a doubt or a question, to be able to say, okay, I'm just like them, and Jesus doesn't judge me because of that. In fact, he says, yeah, come follow me, and you're going to grow in your faith.
And it reminds me that when I doubt, when I have doubted, God has showed up, just like he did in Nathaniel's life. He showed up.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the way, and it wasn't even in the way that Nathaniel thought, because he said, what good can come from Nazareth, right? So not even close to the way he thought God was going to show up. So you just never know how God's going to show up.
Right.
Because it'll be not as you expected. It's
That's
all in his plan.
That's a huge part of that story as well, is just the lesson that God shows up in ways that we sometimes never, ever even understand or comprehend, right? If we had a lot of time, I'd tell you a story about a fellow who walked in here 2 days ago, and we had a conversation, and I think I went home that night and I told Sandra, I think I talked to an angel today. And nobody ever would have assumed that this fellow was an angel of any type. But I'm constantly aware of that passage in Hebrews that says, do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, because when you do, sometimes you are encountering angels without knowing about it. And so I'm always wondering about that when I run into different people. And this one very well might have been an angel. So keep your eyes open. Not only does God see you, but he calls us to see other people in the same way.
Absolutely.
Another podcast for another time.
That's right. So the question begs then, how can we be like Nathaniel? So how can we be that straight-witted? How can we be 100% in our faith? And so this is where my research came in, and I used a little AI, I used a little Google, I used the Bible. I had things all over my desk. It was late at work one night, and I'm researching this, and he said it all over the place. Anyway, we can seek the truth, like Nathaniel, cultivate a sincere and open heart to seek and discover the truth about Jesus. Study scriptures, engage in prayer, and seek a personal relationship with God. And I read something else. I've done a lot of reading lately. I got some men's faith books for Christmas, and my daughter got me one of those jars that, depending on what mood you're in, you pull one of that. And so I've done a lot of reading, and one of those things is, it told me yesterday, actually, take several moments out of the day, and it's just you and God, because you have to have that personal relationship with God to function, to be able to see people, because it's hard sometimes, right, to see people and not judge.
I would even say, kind of a pun here, but go with me. Where's your fig tree? Where in your life is your fig tree? Where's that place that you can go and sit down and just ask the tough questions and say, God, I don't know where you're at. Do you see me? God, do you understand what's going on in my life right now? God, I'm struggling. God, I need you. Whatever that needs to be. We all have to have a fig tree in our life. And maybe that's, maybe it's the truck for you. I know you've talked a lot about how sometimes some of the best prayers for you are just driving when you're going from place to place. Maybe that's the place for you. Maybe it's someplace else. But find your fig tree and a place where you can just be honest with God and sincere and say what you need to say.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, I don't do as much traveling these days. I kind of wish I did, but I don't do as much traveling these days. And my favorite thing was my truck talks, and that's where the truck talk came from. And it's something I used to do. And it just because if I've got questions or I've got thoughts or I've got, somebody else does too.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's where I think the most, and that's where I was. There's a couple moments on truck talks. There's a couple I can remember where God was just flowing through me, and it was amazing. And that was one of my favorite things to do for sure. Another way to be like Nathaniel is to embrace honest skepticism. Allow yourself to question and have doubts. Nathaniel initially doubted Jesus, his origins, but he remained open-minded and willing to investigate further. This is where it's very important today because of AI, because of the speed of news, because of everything going on in the world. Our reaction time is as fast as the news comes in, or as fast as is somebody else's reaction. Me and my wife were working very hard on listening to listen and not listening to react, because we both, I'm probably worse than she is, but she'll say that she's worse than I am. But we both want to either interrupt each other and that's how fast we're reacting, right? We're not even getting it out of our mouths and we're reacting. Right. So we're working very hard on that. And I think, honestly, we all need to work hard on that, especially at the speed that everything comes out. and remain open-minded to not one way or another, but to there's always two sides to the story.
Yeah, open-mindedness is a quality, characteristic, a virtue that we don't have a lot in our society right now. We have a lot of folks who are closed-minded, and we can be all of us can be. I'm not going to put myself out of that camp either. I can certainly be closed-minded too, and so it is a challenge to be able to do that. But Nathaniel is a really good example of somebody who is open-minded, even though he doubts that Jesus could be who Jesus is. He's willing to at least have a conversation with him and explore it. There's a big difference between an atheist and an agnostic. And a lot of times I think we Christians want to put both of those folks in a category and say those are just terrible people because they don't believe anything. That's not true. An atheist has chosen not to believe. An agnostic simply just says, I don't know. I don't know what I'd like to know. I wish I knew more, but I don't know. And there's a place within Christianity for faithful agnosticism, I would say, a place where we can say, I'm going to wrestle with my doubts and my inability not to know, but I'm not going to lose my relationship with God in the process. Even though I don't understand it, even though I don't know, I'm going to hang in there, be open-minded, and let God lead me in the direction I need to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, when in the proof of him being open-minded is when he accepts the invitation to go talk to Jesus, and is willing. If he was closed-minded, like some of us, and I like you said, I'm as guilty as the guy sitting next to me,
which would be me.
Yeah. He would have come up with an excuse why he's seen him under that fig tree. He would have, if he was closed-minded and not open-minded, there would have been a reason, a logical to him reason why Jesus had seen him under that fig tree.
Right.
You were standing on the other side of the field, or you were, but instantly he believed him in.
Well, and notice what Jesus doesn't do either. Jesus doesn't say, come on, Nathaniel, I'm the Messiah. I'm the Son of God. Don't you know that? He doesn't say that. He just says, come follow me. And he does that with all the disciples, and he does that with all of us, that we learn as we go. We don't have to know everything to start following Jesus. I think sometimes people say, well, you need to know everything, or you need to believe all the right stuff, or you need to behave the right way. Jesus never said anything like that to anybody. He took people that were not behaving properly, didn't believe a thing, and said, you come follow me, and as we are going along, and you're following me, and you're learning about me, you're going to grow in your faith. You're going to believe more, and you're going to behave more appropriately. So it's a process for us.
Yep, and that, especially with one of my favorite stories in the Bible is the Matthew story, where he pulls him out of the tax booth, and it says, "Follow me," and there was not a convincing moment. There was not. It was just, come follow me. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Here I go.
And Matthew was not somebody who should have been following Jesus, and the other disciples made sure Jesus understood that too. Lord, no, we don't ask people like that to come follow us. And that's a whole nother podcast for us. Who gets to play? Who gets to be a part of this thing? And by the way, just spoiler, the answer is everyone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Engage in mission and service. Like Nathaniel, actively participate in the mission of spreading the gospel, share your faith, demonstrate Christ's love through acts of kindness, compassion, and be a witness for Jesus in your words and actions. It's that WWJD. What would Jesus do? Right. And it sounds so cliche, but honestly, I ask myself that several times a day, and probably not enough.
Right. Probably the best question that anybody could ask themselves. Really, it is cliche. We've been saying it for years, but it's a great question.
Yeah. Be open to growth and transformation. Just like Nathaniel's encounter with Jesus transformed his skepticism into faith, be open and transformative to the power of Jesus in your life. Allow him to shape and mold you in his image, continually growing in faith, love, and obedience. Being a disciple of Jesus is not a short-term gig,
Right.
right? It's a lifelong journey.
Right.
We're gonna doubt. We're going to fail, miserably fail. But it's a lifelong journey. It's ups, it's downs, it's everything in between.
Right. Yeah, and the disciples are perfect examples of that for us all. Yeah.
For sure. I seen a sign the other day that says, because Epiphany was just the other day, wise men continue seeking
seek him.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And it was good. Two words, wise men.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's funny. And then as I grow deeper in my faith, I understand that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah, notice the word seeking too. We're seeking constantly. See, we never find it. We're never quite all there. And if you think you are all there and you've got it all figured out, you probably need to go back and look at the questions again and see where you're off, because none of us is ever going to be all there. We're constantly seeking. We're constantly learning more about God and about Christ and about the Spirit as we go on this journey. And that's what's really fun about it, is that there's new revelation all the time, epiphany, revelation, this unveiling of something new every day. We learn something new about the Bible or about God or the Spirit or something, and it's a wonderful journey to be on.
Absolutely. Speaking of a journey, you're getting ready to take us on a journey. This this year is our 200th year here doing ministry at Pekin First. I am posting. We are doing a Throwback Thursday. If you've seen that this morning,
stuff.
that was a last minute thought. So we're going to do Throwback Thursdays. We've got all kinds of things
Better
going
than
on.
Throw Up Thursdays, right?
Hey, and with the flu going around, that's a thing.
Yeah.
So we've got Throwback Thursday happening. We've got the beginning of every service. There's a little tidbits, and there'll be tidbits that are going to come out every so often about our history here, which was the 1826 in Tharp's cabin. And I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I have studied so much history over the past 2 weeks.
It's all mushed in there.
Oh, it's all mushed in there. But you're going to take us on a journey. It's based on the Rooted in Faith, Growing in Grace.
Right. Yeah. 6-week sermon series starting this week on Rooted. That's going to be the theme, and we're just really going to talk about. Last week we did the Wesley Covenant renewal service, which, if you were here, was a beautiful service that we all kind of committed ourselves to Christ again for the new year. And we're going to take that to the next level now for the next 6 weeks and say, what are some basic practices we can do? How do we grow deeply, read faithfully, embrace widely, love boldly, serve joyfully, and lead courageously? And those are 6 areas that are based on that theme of love, rooted in faith and growing in grace, which is our bicentennial theme for the year. But it's also based on a new vision statement for the denomination, the United Methodist Church, which talks about loving boldly, serving joyfully, and leading courageously. So it's just going to combine all those together for the next 6 weeks and talk about how do we do that personally, individually, as a family, and as a church.
All right. All good things happening for the bicentennial year, starting off with the service last week and then going straight into Rooted. And then that will lead up to Easter.
That Easter thing, yeah. well, we'll be in Lent, with the season of Lent, and that's coming very quickly.
Very quick.
Ash Wednesday, we'll be talking about probably on a upcoming podcast and getting prepared for Lent and all that entails, and then we've got a block party coming this summer. We've got a wedding renewal service and a time where we're inviting folks who have been a part of the youth group here at the church to come back, and then a big celebration in October. So lots happening.
Lots happening. And you can catch all those things happening on our Facebook page. I just started adding to the website at pekinfirst.org. There is a Celebrate 200 link, and under there's calendars that you can look at and everything coming up. If you've been married here in the church and you happen to catch this podcast, contact info@pekinfirst.org and let Geraldine know. And hopefully you can be a part of the renewal service.
Yeah.
So All right. I think that is all I have for today. Great episode. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And anything else to add?
I'd just say go find your fig tree and be like Nathaniel.
Absolutely. All right. Remember, God put us here to do great things. So let's go do great things.